But over a period of time, and I tell people, I say, if you take this arm and you tie it, okay, over time this will become very, very fragile and very, very small because I'm not using it. I can then rebuild it and bring it back to where it was. But if I cut it off, then there's nothing I can do. If you wait too long to the point where you've cut down or shut down systems, then there's nothing that we can do about you rebuilding it again. You must be supplemented. Here's an interesting concept. If you look at this picture here, and we said to you, let's designate X's as being the bad estrogen. Because the question is, does estrogen cause cancer? Another question, does estrogen cause cancer? Show of hands, who thinks estrogen causes cancer? Okay. Estrogen causes cancer. One particular estrogen, as it starts to be metabolized, estrone goes down what's called a 16-hydroxy metabolic pathway, and 98% of all of our estrogen-related cancers are due to that 16-hydroxy metabolite. Estrone is the bad estrogen. So let's just say, for example, that we designate the bad estrogen as X, and a good estrogen, which is estriol, the one that protects you, as O. If we surround this one particular cell, and let's say this is the one cell in your body, okay? You're now just a one cell. I got you into a 22-year-old body, a 41-year-old body, an 84-year-old. Now you're just one cell. One cell with 4 different receptor sites. If you surround it with the bad estrogen, there's a good chance that the receptor sites will be filled with the bad estrogen and you will lead to cancer. If you surround it with the good estrogen, which is estriol, just like you were when you were younger, the chances are that the good estrogen will bind to those receptor sites and you'll have no cancer. Well, you say to yourself, is there proof? There are studies on the way now. But you should do it on your own mind. You should see from your own mind that makes sense. When do you have a lot of the good? Well, you have a lot of the good when you're younger. If you look all the way to your left, you see a lot of the O's, which are the good estrogen. That's a person that had very little bad, a lot of the good, person that's younger. If you look in the middle, that's a person that's going through perimenopause. Okay? Made only a little bit of the good, a little bit of the bad, and now the fat cells supplemented, and when they supplement, guess what? They make more of the bad. So as your risk starts to increase. If you go to the synthetics like Premarin, you will fill your body with equine estrogens, which are very similar in nature to estrone. So what happens? Your risk of cancer grows. This is what they don't tell you. This is what no one tells you. If you read the literature from the Premarin, it will actually tell you that we only ask you to use it for 4 years. Well, everyone's on it for 10, 12, 15 years. And they know that they can cause cancer in 10 years, and they say it'll cause cancer in 10 years, but rather we only advocate the use of it for 4 years. But once you're hooked on it, you're not going to get off. We say, that's what the bioidenticals are. That's what you had when you were younger. The middle is what happens when you go into perimenopause. We can get you back by putting on the natural hormones. We can get you the same ratios of good to bad. And that's why Trias was developed. If you look at the actual chemical formulas for progesterone, you will find that human progesterone and bioidentical progesterone are identical. But all the way to your left, on your right, you see the red, which is Provera. 2 of those combinations, one has been proven to cause one type of cancer, the other one is proven to cause another type of cancer. Yet, when you use the natural ones, those cancers are not there. Why? Because you're messing with the keys that actually fit into different cells, okay? And will cause a DNA change. Let's move on. What is menopause? Ovaries start producing eggs, levels of estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone fluctuate. If you have no period for 12 months, you're said to be in menopause. Women, are you experiencing hot flashes? That's low estrogen. Memory loss, low estrogen. Night sweats, low estrogen. Mood swings, low progesterone. Vaginal dryness, low estrogen and testosterone. Sleeplessness, low progesterone. painful intercourse, low testosterone. All of these symptoms correlate to a smaller amount or a disbalance or an unbalance in the hormones. So let's say we checked you and we found that you were low on some of these hormones and asked you to replace them. Guess what happens now? Now we say to you, it's not over. It's not that you were low on something, we're going to give it to you and that's it. Because look around you. Everybody's different. Right now, you go to the doctor and he'll give you 4 different sizes of Premarin. How well would you feel if I told you today that from now on, you can only buy shoes in the size 1, size 4, size 8, and size 14? All of you in the middle, too bad. Okay? Make it fit. You would be in an uproar, but yet you accept the fact that they're saying to you there are 4 doses of hormones that we're going to give you, and that's what you have to fit in. I had a lady, she was 65 years old. She came in. She was on the 0.625 Premarin. She said to me, I told some of the other ladies here earlier, okay? She said to me, I went from 30 hot flashes down to 5 hot flashes. Now all of a sudden, she went back to the doctor and said, Doc, can we do anything? She goes, well, let's try the next higher dose, 0.9. Went up to 0.9, and guess what? Hot flashes went away, but now she has breakthrough bleeding and breast tenderness. So she said, you know what? If I had to choose between breakthrough bleeding and breast tenderness and or hot flashes, I'll take the 5 hot flashes. She went back down to the 0.625, and she stood there for 10 years. This is a woman whose husband is in charge of 1,500 doctors. Okay? No one knows. She came to our seminar. We gave her what we think was the right dose. She comes back to us and she says, you know what? Your stuff doesn't work as good as the Premarin. I have 10 hot flashes. I called the doc and I said, Doc, look, we need to up the dose of the estrogen. We know we start low, okay? But even though we have the safest estrogens and we know we start low, we have to up it just a little bit more. And we did. The next month she came back and she said, well, you know what? Your stuff is just as good as the Premarin. I have about 5 hot flashes or so. I said, okay, let me call the doctor again. Called the doctor, said, can we up it just a little bit more? He said, sure, no problem. And we did. All of a sudden she comes back and I said, how many hot flashes? And she looked at me and she goes, 10 years she dealt with 5 hot flashes a day. Okay? Conventional wisdom. We're talking about getting your hormones right. If you went for a wedding dress, you wouldn't think twice about going for 3 fittings. Okay? Hormones are something that must be tailored to everybody's individual body. Look around you, you're all different. You need everybody to be tweaked, as what we say, to get it right. Synthetic hormones increase the risk of cancer, contains estrogen and progestins that are foreign to the body. Some use chemical in pregnant mare's urine as a base. Can cause undue weight gain. Yes, we have patients that come with us on Premarin. We get the natural hormones back into them. All of a sudden they drop 5 to 12 pounds. Why? The Premarin was holding on to an excess amount of water. Herbal remedies. No testing available to determine individual needs. No cardiac or osteoporosis protection. Hit or miss on hormone levels. No follow-up consultation to assess results, and symptoms may improve, but the underlying problem still exists. You need to get the hormones back into balance. What are the benefits of natural hormones? Relieve symptoms of PMS, including bloating, cramping, and irritability. Another wife story. Sorry, hon, wherever she is. We get this one, and we say, we were moving a couch. And as we were moving a couch, she says, oh, my period came. And I said, yeah. And she said, well, no bloating, no headache, no weight retention, none of this. What am I going to do? How did my period come? You're not supposed to have all of that. Okay? We have that. When you get the hormones in balance, that doesn't happen. I think we're running late. Are we running late? Okay. Yeah, we want to get questions. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just tell you one more story, and I know I've been telling you a lot of stories. I want to tell you one more story, okay? And hopefully this hits it home. And it's my dad's story, okay? 5 years ago, he had a heart attack. And when he had a heart attack, we went back to New York. We put a stent in his heart. And we put a stent in his heart. About 8 months passed, and I said, Dad, come on out, spend time with the family. And he says, I can't. I said, why not? He says, because my heart hurts. And I said, okay, back to New York. And I'm sitting there with a cardiologist and a radiologist, and we're looking at his heart. And he says, we're going to cut here, cut here, cut here, and we're going to put a vein from his leg, and we're going to do a bypass. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. The man's got osteoporosis. He's got thyroid problem. He's got diabetes. He's got all of these different problems. When he broke his leg, we could not put a cast on it. We had to wrap it up, and for 14 weeks, he stood there, okay? And subsequently, he had a little bit of a gimp because of it. Now you're telling me that we're going to break open his chest, we're going to break ribs, we're going to take a vein out of a leg that's already got, diminished amount of circulation, and you're going to do that to his... He goes, no, this is not an option. And he said to me, understand something, and I'll look everybody in the face about this. He said to me, you take him out of here, and he's going to die. And he'll be in the bathroom one day, and he'll do too much strain, and he's going to die. And I said, took Dad, and I went up to him and I said, Dad, this is what they said.